All the cellists that I showed it to were completely shocked about the sound. All of them said it was the best cello they'd ever played.
Welcome back to Strange Inheritance Unpacked. You just saw the story of the two daughters and their father's most prized possession, a 300-year-old Stradivarius cello. He bought the instrument for $100,000, and then they sold it for millions. And the million-dollar question is any instrument worth that kind of cash? Let's grab the remote. Fan Tao is the director of research at Dario, the world's largest maker of musical strings. He also co-authored a study on the true sound of Stradivari cellos. So do they really sound that much better?
The studies we've been doing show that under blind conditions, when players don't know what they're playing, they pick the violins that they like best. And sometimes they're old instruments, Strads, and sometimes they like the new instruments. So the best violins being made today, we believe, are comparable to the best violins made 300 years ago.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, because one of the things you have to understand is that if your 300-year-old Stradivarius violin was being produced to play music that's 300 years old.
Okay, what do you think about that? What's your answer to that, Ben? Yeah?
Well, one of the interesting things that people aren't aware of, except the musicians and people in the business, is that the overwhelming majority of these old Strads have been heavily modified. They superficially look the same as 300 years ago, but actually they've been worked on, the bridges, the neck, the fingerboard, even they've been heavily repaired and patched up and regraduated. I don't think Stradivari would recognize the sound of his instruments today as they are being played today.
So then why are they worth? I mean, that's an argument for the other side. Why are they worth so much money? If they've been repaired and it's changed so much, why is it worth it?
Well, it's worth it because they are some of the best sounding instruments.
Let me ask the therapist. Okay. I mean, this is like a mind trick to me. Because it says Stradivari, that's why everybody thinks it's so great. Is it a mind trick?
Well, I wonder if it's branding.
No.
But I also wonder if it's like...
It's brainwashing. It's crazy.
It's branding and brainwashing.
But I also wonder, too, like an important piece of art, it's the story behind the art. And I wonder if it's similar with these instruments, like who owned it, who played it.
One of my favorite moments from the show was when they gave the cello a CAT scan. I love that. Let's watch that scene, and then I have a question for you.
What information can you get from the CAT scan for the cello and for someone maybe interested in buying that cello that you can't get otherwise?
We can get a lot of information about the anatomy of the cello, what makes it unique, what's different about this cello from other cellos. We can learn a lot about the condition of the cello. If it's a very old cello, it will have had repairs, and we can see all of those repairs.
So can you produce your own Stradivari by getting your information?
Yes.
What?
The information...
You can build a Stradivari
by getting the information?
Well, we can build something
very close.
Have you?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Could you pass it off as the real thing?
That's a little more difficult.
I saw you nodding your head when they were talking about the fact, couldn't you go and get the same wood, you know, if you have the CAT scan and you could see exactly how it was made, why can't you replicate it? What's your opinion? Can you replicate it?
Oh, well, yes. So there's a myth. One myth is that Stradivariuses aren't actually as good as they are. No, that's not a myth. It's absolute fact that, these are the world's greatest instruments, the greatest sounding instruments. The real myth is that a lot of people believe that it can't be replicated, that they're unique.
There you go. We're going to leave it there. Fan Tao, thank you so much for indulging our questions. We really appreciate it. Coming up.